everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Monica Mancias. I'm a Mexican-American and British author living in the UK. I've been here for about 2 years. I moved from Los Angeles and am now living in a village. I know I've gotten lots of corrections on this, but it is classified as a village. That's what everyone who lives here tells me. In any case, I am, some of you may know from previous videos that I have recently found the new hobby of looking for Victorian era and sometimes older pottery shards and other bits and bobs in local public trails. I was introduced to this by a dear friend of mine, and I'm just having so much fun with it. So I have a whole bunch. Look at this. This is just from the past week. We found a really great spot. And then so I'm gonna wash these off, but I thought while I did that, maybe it would be a good time for a little bit of a story. I honestly don't know how unique this story is to me, because I have a feeling that a lot of people in the UK have probably had their moments of meeting somebody in the royal family or seeing somebody from the royal family. But for me as a child, this was sort of one of those monumental moments that you take with you for the rest of your life. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my childhood, my time in the UK as a kid, and that one precious time that I got to meet the one and only Princess Diana. And I'm going to try not to make too much noise as I do this. I'm just going to clean off my collection. I got some really good bits, including, let's see if I can find it. I found a bottle head that my friend thinks was either a perfume bottle or a poison bottle. And I'm intrigued. I'm equally intrigued by both. All right, sorry for the noise here. So the first time I came to the UK, I was about 8 years old. I came in the winter over Christmas with my abuelita, which is my grandmother. That's how we say grandmother in Spanish, and her sister, my great aunt. My father was living in Cambridge. He was there for a few years. He's a neurobiologist, and he was doing his postdoctoral research in Cambridge. So I came over in the winter the first time, and then 3 subsequent summers I spent here in the UK. And some of the things that I remember, you know, just being fascinated by or loving and taking home that felt really special was, first, I had never had fish and chips before. And so I still remember the day that I tried my first fish and chips, and I was really taken aback by the fact that people liked to eat their chips with vinegar, as I was used to eating them with ketchup. Never really took a liking to that, but I did take much more than a liking to salt and vinegar crisps. Oh, I loved salt and vinegar crisps. They were my absolute favorite and remain so to this day. And I used to go back to the States and tell my friends all about how delicious salt and vinegar crisps were. But I also found this washer, and I'm interested to know if this is an older washer, or if, you know, for all I know, it could be from 20 years ago. I don't know. So yes, I would come home and tell all my friends about salt and vinegar crisps, and I was actually strangely disappointed when salt and vinegar crisps made it to the US, because then it wasn't as special, and it was something that anybody could have and wasn't, you know, something that only I could tell my friends about. That happened many years later. And I also remember falling in love with flapjacks. We would get them, we'd get them in the cafeteria on the Cambridge campus or some cafe close by. But you know, and that was a bit of a confusion for me at first as well, because flapjacks in the United States means pancakes, and so I didn't understand what these sort of granola bar things were. But oh, Loved them, absolutely delicious. And what else was I fascinated by? Oh, I would go to the market that was around the corner. It was sort of like a convenience store, a small shop. It could have been a sweets shop actually, and it was so long ago, I don't remember. But I do remember that they had these bins of candy where you could get one piece of candy for 1 pence, and I would just go over there, you know, with a pound or something and fill up a little bag, and it was, to me, the greatest thing in the world. There was also, my father lived in terraced housing, and there was an alleyway right behind his house, and then a row of attached garages. Sorry, that's how I say it, garages. I remember I would find marbles all over the ground there, and I don't know who left them. I assume they were left behind by kids, but to me it was like treasure hunting. It was so fun to go down there and just find all of these discarded marbles. So those are some of the big things that I remember. And of course, seeing castles for the first time was amazing. I remember also, I have a memory of going to Cornwall and trying clotted cream for the first time, which sounded like such a strange thing, but was absolutely delicious. And I still love it to this day. I mean, who doesn't? How could you not? But to the story. So one day, my father learned that Princess Diana was going to be doing a meet and greet of sorts, and it wasn't terribly close to where we are. I do remember we had to drive. I don't remember exactly where it was. I feel like it was outside of a historic manor house or something of that kind. I must have been 9 or 10 years old. I remember I had short permed hair. Perms were the thing back then. And if you're doing the math right now, please don't. I am 25 years old eternally. So I must have been 9 or 10 years old, and he put me in a pretty dress and pretty shoes, and we got in the car and we drove for a bit. I don't remember how long. And we arrived, and there was sort of a line of people standing outside this little fenced-off area. And I just remember Princess Diana making her way down the line and people handing her flowers. And my father sort of helped me to make my way up to the front since I was young and shorter. I hope that the water running isn't completely overwhelming the audio in my video. If so, I apologize. That's one bag down, 2 more to go. And she made her way down the line, and I just remember that she was wearing, you know, one of those big brimmed hats and, you know, dressed beautifully as she always was. And I just remember shaking her hand, and she had this very, very soft handshake, and she said, hello, very, very, you know, very quiet and demure. And again, I've met, you know, living in Los Angeles, you do meet and see celebrities all over the place. They you know, share the same grocery stores with you and the same roadways with you. And, you know, so I've met a number of people or seen a number of people that, you know, were really big in my memory. But I have to say that when anybody asks me who the most famous person or most impactful person I ever met was, it was definitely Princess Diana. And I'm not one of those people who, you know, reads up a whole lot on the royal family, and I don't have strong opinions one way or the other, but I did really take something from that moment as a child. And of course I got to go home. It was sort of bragging rights. I got to go home and tell all of my friends I had met a princess, a real life princess, which we of course did not have in the United States. So yeah, that was, it just came to mind as I was watching these things and taking stock of the fact that I now live here in the UK, and all those years ago, it never would have occurred to me that I would wind up living here myself one day. And I just remember those days of being a kid here so fondly and thought that I would share it with all of you. So if you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you were a returning viewer, then I thank you so much for watching all of my videos on my fledgling channel. I wish you all a beautiful day. I almost let you go without giving you a peek at the perfume and or poison bottle that I mentioned earlier. So if any of you are experts in the field and you happen to know when this would be dated to and what might have belonged in it, feel free to let me know in the comments. And I'll give you a little view of all of the treasures I got this week. There they are, all washed up. Here's some more over here. Okay, that's it for me for today. Thanks so much again for watching.